In case you missed part 1, take a look. Welcome to another episode of the Sankofa Cultural Collective series. I am your host, Natalie.
But no, we've reached a point in African history on our journey of building our future where we've come to understand that we can't do that without involving the African diaspora. But you realize that many Barbadians came from Ghanaian shores.
It was more than just, the High Commissioner, Julia Barnes-Sutherland, coming to give us a truly Bayesian Christmas dinner.
Papa, you've got rum. Can we learn from you how to do akpetishi? Because akpetishi is, how can we market akpetishi? And now Barbados is not feeding off of sugarcane. It's tourism. And it's authentically Barbadian.
Yeah. I think last year was definitely a special year for Barbados and Ghana. We definitely had a lot of interaction and shared experiences. And even when I was in Barbados, it was so refreshing to speak to some of the students and for them to say, you know what, I can actually say I feel more Ghanaian because now I feel more Barbadian. It was, and even when I was walking, somebody would say, oh, like somebody called me a name. I think they thought I was their cousin. And I said, yes, it's me.
It's me. I would be walking and people,
me.
The Bajans they have their accents and their terms, and somebody would just blurt something out. And I'm like, I know I look like you, but I
don't understand. I'm trying.
I identify as Bajan too, but I don't understand, But something else I want to point out, Natalie, from that trip, I think as Ghanaians and Africans, because we are those of us who didn't have our direct ancestry being taken away through slavery and all the horrible things that history documents. Sometimes it's very easy to take what we have for granted.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly where you come from, being able to trace every single stretch of your heritage, we take it for granted. And so there's a book that I started writing when I was in Barbados.
Inspired by Barbados.
Yes, and I will have to launch it with the High Commission when it's time. It's titled My Grandmother's Ghost Lives in Barbados. Yes. And so there's a piece titled that, and then there's one piece which is fast becoming my favorite even as I write, titled The Atlantic Owes Me Blood. When you do the east coast of the island, it's actually, Barbados is not just the coast, the island is not just one coast. The east coast is the Atlantic Ocean. So you can, when you smell, it smells like you're in Labadi. I'm telling you, how did I get it? It smells like in Jamestown because that's the Atlantic. And what you learn and what you begin to understand is that between that coast and the African coast, which includes the Ghanaian coast, there's nothing. It's just the sea. And so you realize that it's really just the sea that's separating us. And the sea that separated us, and that was used as a tool to break us apart. And so I just started writing, the Atlantic, like you owe me blood. You owe me blood because I'm seeing all these faces and I'm thinking, this person looks like my auntie. This person looks like she could be my mother's cousin. This person looks like, I even did a video call with my mom and I was with the poet laureate of Barbados at the time, the Honorable Esther Phillips. And I said, Mom, you look, as soon as my mom saw, my mom said, you look like my mother. And it's true. She looks like my grandmother. And I kept telling her that she looks like an Ebe woman, from Piki or Hohwe or Bando. And so these were the things that Barbados gave to me. But I think that there's so much that Ghana, Africa, and then the Caribbean, Barbados will lead the way that we can learn from each other and do together so we can succeed together.
Definitely. And I know we go on about it and we're going to go on about it until something is done. To be honest, we know that, look, Barbados is visa-free for Ghanaians. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ghana is visa-free for Barbadians as well. So right now, it's literally a case of
direct flights
or just generally logistics.
Visas. And that was an issue for many of the artists who had to go to Barbados because you're either doing through the US, Canada, the UK. And it's not as though these nations didn't want to support, or even their high commissions and embassies here didn't try. But the law is the law. Immigration law is immigration law. And you can't bend it because a group of artists want to travel from Ghana to Barbados. And so the conversation more and more is direct flights, right? And I did, Prime Minister Mia Mottley and I had a brief chat about this. We spoke about it, and she said, it's something that she's pushing very hard. My conversation with her and Carrie Festa was just a week or so prior to the the Afro-Caribbean meetings at the AU in Addis Ababa. And so she said,
the AU CARICOM Summit. Yes.
She said, it's something I'm really going to push hard when I go. And she did.
She did.
And since filming this, a direct air route has been introduced between West Africa and Barbados, with Air Peace running flights between Lagos and Bridgetown.
So Apiorkor, even just from being here at the Barbados High Commission, I have seen the power that the creative economy has to actually break down a lot of these borders, whether it's educational, whether it's ideology, whether it is logistically. And I mean, Carrie Festa gave you a fantastic opportunity to not only meet, but collaborate with, our creative brothers and sisters on the other side of the Atlantic. So when we look at that power, what do you think is next in the trajectory?
So I think the next thing is, I hinted at that, operationalizing some of these possibilities and opportunities. Since I came back, we've had conversations, for example, my team and I, with publishers that we met there. How can we bring Bajan books here? Because the stories, many are similar. How can we bring Bajan books here, take Ghanaian literature there? And it's not as though we don't have those seeds sown already. I did have the opportunity to go to the University of the West Indies, what we call UWI.
Yes.
And look, somebody like Professor Kofi Anijo, he's a superstar there. As soon as I mentioned I was from Ghana, I remember one of the deans said, I was in Ghana when I was a young boy. And I said, oh, you were? He says, yes, I was part of the team that shot Heritage Africa. I was a with a young boy with a young film crew. And I will never forget the experience. I've never had a chance to go, but if I do, I'm coming. And just that conversation, imagine someone like him coming to do a guest lectureship, say at NAFTI or
even University of Ghana.
You understand, University of Ghana. And Prof. Anidoho has done many things. The current, we're talking about Barbados, but the Caribbean as a whole, the current poet laureate of Jamaica is Professor, Kwame Dawes. And Kwame Dawes is Ghanaian, and he's of Ghanaian parentage, of course. And so imagine, all of that happening. He was at Carrie Festa, and we were having these conversations. It was so surreal.
Yeah.
So the seeds have been sown, but the next step is to make sure that those connections that we've made, we actually make sure that they become useful for creatives on both sides of the divide, and then also for future creatives. Now it's like you have this huge responsibility on our hands. It's not enough to say I'm going to play a show in Barbados and then also bring a Bajan to come and perform at our PANAFest. We need to do more than that. And that the next step for that is policy. But beyond policy, there's also private sector muscle. And when we talk about oil and gas, we talk about, I mentioned agric, we talk about fisheries, we talk about trade as a whole, all the other sectors. We talk about public-private partnership, PPP. Why don't we do that when it comes to the creative and cultural sector? Because we're not thinking about it with that kind of business infrastructure. And so I would like to believe that that's one thing we also need to do. And I think the Bajans seem to be a little further ahead in understanding creative entrepreneurship and how to monetize and operationalize a creative business. So these are things that we'll have to maybe exchange programs. The National Culture Foundation Barbados is extremely lucrative. And how are they doing it? They found a way to generate funds. So they're not just relying on government infrastructure to fund. They've gone past that. They've built structures where the foundation is able to generate funding and they're able to invest back in the creative and cultural sector. Yes. So these are things to learn. And I think that some of the conversations I've also had with Her Excellency Juliet, these are some of the things I will be looking at going forward.
So Apiorkor, this is honestly I hope this is a great learning experience for you, our viewers, but it's definitely a learning experience for me. So Apiorkor, you're Ghanaian, now you're Bajan. You are Bajan, let's be honest. What are the key things you think are needed to be imported, exported both ways.
So the Bajan pepper sauce.
Yes.
Because we love spice in Ghana, we love pepper. And it's not everything that you can eat shito with.
At all.
Shito is magical, but sometimes you want a different kind of pepper.
Yeah.
So everything shito na akpo, you know. So the Bajan pepper sauce is a nice one, but then we can also export shito
exactly
to Barbados, because guess what? Shito has dried herrings, there's shrimp. All of these things are, you know, fish, seafood. And the Bajans love it. So it would be a very nice, you know, and they also like their spice. So it would be nice to do that. From Barbados, I mentioned milk.
Yes. That's
I mean,
interesting.
No, milk. I saw some of the dairy farms. The people are doing the business. They're doing it, and they're doing it well, and the milk tastes good. That's why I was eating my breakfast cereal with, you know, because I was, you know, I couldn't go and be doing hotel food all the time. So you have to go grocery shopping, and I had an Airbnb, so we're able to do a bit of cooking. There's that. And then coconut. Export coconut from Ghana there because the taste is different. Ghana coconut is a little more potent, but they are making coconut bread, all these things. It's something they may love to have. Even now, we have Ghanaians who are doing very wonderful work in packaging and
flour,
the flour, the coconut water. We can export that. You know, then rum cake, Bayesian rum cake. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I agree.
It can be in Ghanaian Christmas hampers. It's not every day. We have all sorts of things in our Christmas hampers. Why can't we have Barbadian things in there? You have a made in Ghana kakra, and then you have
made in Barbados
kakra. You know, rum cake is another one. So there's so many different things. That the kind of pottery work that Bajans are doing. I know they would also love to have our sanka on their shelves, or our clay pots, our water pots. They would love to have it, even if it's just as relics and, you know, centerpieces in their raw, beautiful Ghanaian form. And they also have their clay work. We've got little piggy banks, jewelry boxes that are made from ceramics and clay, but hand painted with Barbados, which I brought it with seashells as the handles. I brought a few of those back, brought from my daughter. Yes, and she loves it. So there are lots of different things that I saw that we can easily, and then Ghanaian fashion. There's a hunger for it. Look, I met a woman in Barbados. I thought she was from Ghana because she was wearing my earrings on. She was wearing a dress that had a bit of fugu in there. Now that fugu is a big conversation. And then she said that, oh, you know, she was going to try to do a business to start importing some Ghanaian things. So she had a chance to come to Ghana once, and that was it. Ghanaian fashion.
Yes.
All our textiles.
Yes.
You know, I haven't seen anyone over there doing it on a certain scale. So if we also start exporting, we have the designers, we have the muscle to do it. I know we do. So there's so much.
It seems that the possibilities really are limitless right now.
Endless.
And you know, something that I love.
Ghana rice. For the rice and peas.
Yes.
Ghana rice for the rice and peas. Why not?
Apiorkor, you brought something to my mind, especially as we close. You know, especially in recent years with Ghana's efforts with the diaspora, Ghana has been labeled the gateway to, if not the whole of Africa, at least West Africa. And we know that Barbados is also seen as the gateway to the Caribbean. So in theory, it's a no-brainer. It's literally just
a marriage that is ordained by God.
Because we are the same people as well, literally. Yes. So I think, you know, viewers, I hope this is also giving you a lot of food for thought. And of course, whether in Barbados or Ghana, if any business ideas, opportunities come your way, please feel free to reach out, you know, whether to us here, the Barbados High Commission in Ghana, or any other representative bodies wherever.
But there's even opportunity for religious tourism.
Yeah.
Just like Ghana, every 2 centimeters of a walk, there's a church. Yes. Some of them are modern, some of them are Orthodox, older buildings. But, you know, religious tourism, let's find out, you know, what does this mean for us historically?
Yes.
Can we do missionary work together? Look, everything you can think of, the opportunities are limitless.
Oh, Apiorkor, it has been... I didn't know I was coming for a lesson or like a business crash course today, but I will definitely be watching this episode over myself to take some notes. Now, Apiorkor, the last time you were here, you did something very special for us. You actually wrote a poem just for us. Can you just, give our viewers a bit more context? And of course, we will show you and share that poem with you, but give us a bit of the context.
So, even before going to Barbados, I knew there was something special about the sea between the two of us, the waterway. And I mean, it makes sense, right? The slaves, our ancestors who were tagged as slaves, as chattel, as human chattel, were taken over the seas. And so whenever I think of Barbados, I think of the Caribbean, I think of the sea. And so this piece was sort of capturing my feeling of that. But then not just the pain that the memory of the waters can bring, but the hope that it holds for our future together. Yeah.
So Apiorkor, please take it away.
So the title of the poem, and I wrote it specifically for you, Natalie and the Sankofa Collective, is When the Tide Remembers.
Yes.
And like I said a little earlier, it's still playing with this notion of the ocean, the sea, what that means for our shared experiences, not just the pain of the past or the bloodshed that we've left behind, but how we should recognize that commonality, and it gives us hope for the future and our future together. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today's episode. Yes, I've taken Natalie's job from her just for a little while. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Do subscribe and keep watching the Sankofa Collective. But we leave you with When the Tide Remembers. When the Tide Remembers is the name of this piece. Still very rough. It's a diamond in the rough, but I hope you like it. We are the salt that crossed the oceans, the syllables carved into the wind, the memory braided into the waves. Ghana and Barbados, not two lands, but two verses in the same song, hummed beneath the decks of slave ships, spoken in prayers through cane fields and castles, kept alive in gospel and drum and drum and drum, in patois and proverbs. We share the crown and the chain, the Sunday morning pew and the market stall laughter, the handshake of parliament and the hush of ancestral altars. We are not strangers. We are family, separated by water, yes, but reunited by art we are. So when we gather in Bridgetown, at Osu, Akari Festa, it is not a performance. It is a pilgrimage. It is the tide remembering our name, the name that we share together.